Ankin Ma'at, Ankin Ma'at, Ankin Ma'at. I really must apologize with you for being this late. Boy, did I have some technical issues, and they were caused completely by me. Completely by me. I actually was shifting to prepare for Kemetic Ascension, and I mistakenly tripped my power cable, which meant that my entire setup had, and then it rebooted and it wouldn't have access to my camera, and then so on and so on and so on. I just have to apologize for being this late because I tried to go live around 12 noon, and we're now nearly 30 minutes beyond that. So I must apologize for being so late to Kemetic Ascension, and beg your indulgence and restore my art with you. I just apologize for you waiting this long for us to be live, and it taking me this long. Let me go ahead and say Ankh and Ma'at to you, say greetings to you. I am so honored that you've chosen to spend part of your Sunday with the Shrine of Ma'at for Kemetic Ascension. Let me start the way we always start, and that is by asking where in the world you are and how long you've been part of Kemetic Ascension. We, in this virtual age where Kemetic Ascension has been entirely virtual, I have truly looked forward to hearing where you are so we can connect with you on a better basis. And I see that some of you have been here for a long time. We see Sinette Willinette, who was waiting forever. Sinette, I know that you've added some to your name. I believe you said to call you Sinette Efua, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong. Let me say Ankin Ma'at to you. I see that you've been here since 1204. And I also know that you are moving between three cities, still in three cities, still in Los Angeles. And I know I read just this morning how serious those rains in LA were. So I'm hoping you're doing well. You have said it's wondrous, wonderful. I think that you are enjoying it, which means that you're probably not dealing with flooding. And so that is a blessing. We must say dwa, dwa, dwa to the Neteru for allowing you to enjoy the wonder of the Neteru's work and just say, ah, Tefnut, rain down upon me and let me enjoy this moisture. I know that LA is one of those places that has been struggling for rain so often. I know that when I first went to LA many years ago, it was quite green. And my last trip there, which is still a few years ago now, it looked very brown. Much of the greenery had actually died off just because LA is one of those cities that's getting less and less rain. So I'm hoping that this rain assists in some manner and that that cycle is broken. I'm not sure how that will work, but I'm praying to the Neteru that that's the case. I also see Heru, son of Ast from Iran. Heru, son of Aras, are you currently in Iran? Ankh and Ma'at to you. That would certainly be the furthest place away from us. Ankh and Ma'at to you. It is wonderful that you are here. Ankh and Ma'at to Miss Benita. Benita Sutton is always here. Ankh and Ma'at to you. I'm so pleased that you are here, honored that you are here. I hope that you're doing well. We also see Superfly Guy 30. Peace, peace, brother. Superfly Guy. We see Just in Time. Peace to you. Durante Jackson, Ma'at Hotep, and peace to you. We see a Genicon Malo, Ankh and Ma'at, a Genicon. I'm so honored that you're here. One of our full members coming to us from, I believe, Naples, Florida. Ankh and Ma'at to you. I hope you are doing well. I'm truly hoping that things with you and the family are good. Ankh and Ma'at to you. I see Shrine of Sekhmet, Ankh and Ma'at. That is Abut Sashat. Ankh and Ma'at to you. I hope you are doing well. Coming to us from, I believe, Connecticut, Ankin Ma'at. Ankin Ma'at to Sarabi Queen. Ankin Ma'at to Tone Johnson. Call you soon. You have a message from an ancestor for me. Really? I'd love to hear more. Sinette Tone is one of our full members. Let's chop it up this week sometime if we can, so I can hear what you've been meditating on. Ankin Ma'at to Herusar Ankh Amun Ra, who has been part of this gathering for 5 years. Ankin Ma'at to you. Ankin Ma'at to Ta Seti, coming to us from Denver, Colorado. For 4 years. Nice, nice, nice. Ankin Ma'at to Jose Francis. Ankin Ma'at to you. Hetep, Hetep, Hetep. Long time no see. I know you are doing well. Ankin Ma'at to Eric Adams. Peace to you. Ankin Ma'at to, yes, Efua Ma'ati. Sun out for a bit now. You're relocating. I remember you were saying you were relocating. I'd love to hear more about why you're going to be relocating. And I believe you're leaving LA, if I remember correctly. And so Ankin Ma'at to you. I hope all is doing well there. Ankin Ma'at to Devin. Ankin Ma'at to Mitchell Guess. Almost missed you. Ankin Ma'at. Ankin Ma'at to Mike Witt. First time. Ankin Ma'at. Brother Mike Witt, I hope you are doing well, and welcome, welcome, welcome. Ankin Ma'at to Hop for Hop for Op. I hope that's I'm saying that right. Ankin Ma'at, you said Hetep and Tepi and Abet, which probably means that you're one of our regular members, if not a full initiated member. Please tell me who you are. That's a new title, a new handle on YouTube. Ankin Ma'at to Willie Towless. Ankin Ma'at, Hotep and Ashe. Peace. Superfly Guy says he's coming to us from Missouri. Wonderful, wonderful. Ankin Ma'at to Jason Holmes. Send Jason is one of our full and very active members. Ankin Ma'at to you from out there in Lincoln, Nebraska. Ankin Ma'at. Promote the debate, Brother Jabari. That's the Jose you are. Ankin Ma'at. Yes, you should just know that I am going to, and thanks for the reminder, I'm going to be debating a brother in our community, a holistic doctor, Dr. Inky, he is called. I'm going to be debating him on the Friday after Misgiving Day. The Friday after Misgiving Day. I would love for you all to attend. We're going to be talking about the historicity of Jesus. While it's not directly a Shrine of Ma'at issue, I'm sure virtually everyone in this community would be interested in that topic. So please join us. I'll be sending. No, I don't think I'm going to see you before the debate. You should know that if you, it's going to be with Sonnetter. And I wish I had a link. I don't yet have a link. So that would be helpful. I don't have one, but I'll definitely send it out. Perhaps I'll post it on the public shrine page so that you're aware of it. Would this be a good time to light your altar? Durante Jackson, if this is the time that you are going to be engaging in divine communion, yes, it would be if you're going to do that. Ankin Ma'at to you. Ankin Ma'at to Walter Justice. Ankin Ma'at to Robert James. Peace to from the UK. Yes, always here from London. Ankin Ma'at. That's James Limba, which is Hop for App. Ankin Ma'at. Yes, that's a new handle. I'm not aware of that handle. That's why I didn't know who you were. Ankin Ma'at, one of our full members from Shensu Ma'at. You're leaving Los Angeles, Sinette Efua Ma'ati, to relocate with the family. Hopefully that means that I know that you're used to the travel, so I don't even know if this makes sense to you, but hopefully that means that you'll be able to sort of enjoy at least two of those places that you usually move through regularly, because I believe that you're already in the Southeast. No, I think you already come to the Southeast quite a bit. And so hopefully that means that at least one of those, two of those places you'll still get to enjoy. Moving around a lot can be a challenge, and it can also be a blessing. It means that you are interacting with large numbers of the people in our community, and that can certainly be a blessing. So Ankh and Ma'at to that. I hope that your travels and your relocation go smoothly. We ask the Neteru to guide you to a location that works for your family and for you, a location that is edifying and allows you to do the work that the Neteru and the ancestors expect you to do. Ankh and Ma'at to Shemsu Necher. Ankh and Ma'at to you. Jerkru. Okay. Jabari, you and your tribe peoples are likely the only resource for Egyptian stuff, and I highly respect that. Ankh and Ma'at to you. And we see the Jati of Phoenix, of the place that we call Bennu, who says Ankh and Ma'at. I just saw a text from you earlier today. I didn't even reply yet. Ankh and Ma'at to you. I think you were just greeting, but as I was running in this morning after doing some things with my mother, as you know, is getting up there in age, and so sometimes I have to assist a little bit. You should know. I'm hoping that you are doing well, and definitely running in and then trying to start Kemetic Ascension was a challenge this morning. And then thinking, okay, I'm going to do it on time, and then tripping the power from my whole system was a problem. So Ankh and Ma'at to Chairman Chief G3. Ankh and Ma'at. I'm not sure if I'm an elder quite yet, but my back says that I have an elder back and maybe a younger. The rest of my body is a little bit younger. Ankh and Ma'at to you, and I hope you are doing well. Well, let me go ahead and greet you all. Go ahead and say dua to you all for all that you have done. And I truly hope that this day is another day that will allow you to commune with the ancestors, to honor the connections that we have with all of the Neteru, those forces that control and have built and maintained the universe. I'm hoping that this is the day that allows you to do that. And I'm truly hoping that in this gathering, you will be able to spend more time with those people who also hear the call of the Neteru, who also recognize that the traditions of our African ancestors are not dead. That in fact, there are those of us who hear their call, who have cleaved to their traditions, and are seeking to actually be part of the tradition that they put forward today. It is magnificent. I'm glad that you are here. And I want to honor you for your time. Ankh and Ma'at to Ron Green, who I think just popped in, coming to us from Alton, Illinois. Ankh and Ma'at to you as well. So let us begin our gathering, especially because I'm already behind schedule. Perhaps we could start our gathering with the opening of the way. You know that this is the tradition that was given to us, the ritual that was given to us, the ceremony that was given to us by our elder, the now glorious ancestor, Baba Heru Ankh Ra Samad Sepata. I am so honored to have been one of his children, to have been one of his students, his spiritual children, I should be clear about. And this particular ceremony, the opening of the way, was put into its current form by our elder. What a powerful thing that he did for us as he put it into this order. And I always say that he put it into this condition. And I want to be really clear that you're not going to find people in the ancient world doing the opening of the way. However, you are going to see all of the components of the opening of the way existing in full form in the ancient world. If someone had been miraculously transported to our current day and time, they would recognize the components of the opening of the way, coming from a full understanding of the Mesu Heru, the sons of Heru, also can be described as the sons of light, by the way. the children of Heru, those who are the offspring of Heru. So in many ways, it is powerful for us to do the opening of the way, because we are just that, the children of Heru, those who has taken the responsibility upon us to ensure that the traditions of our ancient African ancestors in the Hopi Nile Valley region are still being done. So I would love for you to stand with me and do the opening of the way. I actually put the link in the chat. If anyone, our full members especially, would love to come on and do the opening of the way, I would truly appreciate that. These sessions have continued to be far too Hemnetter and Tepi Jabari Osaze focused. So someone coming in and do the opening of the way would be wonderful. But if not, I will lead you in the opening of the way, which will allow us to do that ceremony that reminds us of exactly who we are and of what we are made. And so I ask for you to stand. Please stand with me. Stand to do the opening of the way. Let me just alter my camera a little bit. I believe you'll be able to see me from here. We want you to stand in what is called the position of adoration. What is the position of adoration, you might ask? The position of adoration is the pose that you are going to see on temple walls and on papyri for thousands of years in the Hopi Nile Valley region. This is how we both give and receive divine energy. So you're going to stand upright and stand with your left foot a bit further forward than your right foot, as if you were about to take a step. And then you're going to put your arms up and extend your hands in front of you, as if you were about to feel the energy in the room around you. You should notice that if you stand quietly and you expose your hands in this manner and close your eyes, you'd actually be able to sense the energy around you more powerfully than if you were just simply standing or sitting in the way that you normally are. Now, I'm going to say to you, you're probably feeling more radiant energy when you do this because of the sensitivity of our hands. But I ask you to begin to allow yourself to receive divine energy in the way that our ancestors did. I believe that if you continue to do this and meditate in this position, you will actually begin to feel more than radiant energy. And so as you do this, now I also want you to put your left hand a bit further forward than your right hand, and your right hand is going to be a bit further down compared to your left hand. Don't break your wrist hard like this. I see people do it like this. If you're going to break them at all, break them ever so slightly, because this is the way that we see our ancestors do this. We don't see them with those wrists that are extremely broken in a 90-degree angle. So from here, what you're going to do is you're going to begin to do this ceremony by taking in the breath and chanting the word of everlasting life from ancient Kemet, Ankh. So let us begin. Take your breath. Anetrak in Bethet. Nuk in Bethet. Anetrak Hapi. Nuk Hapi. Twawinter. Netrak Serket. Nuk Serket. Anetrak Keb Senuf. Nuk Keb Senuf. Twawinter. Turn are 90 degrees. Anetrak Ast. Nuk Ast. Anetrak Amset. Nuk Amset. Twawinter. Anetrak Neat. Nuk Neat. Anetrok Dwa Mutef, Nuk Dwa Mutef, Twau Inter. Anetrok Newt, Nuk Newt, Anetrok Geb, Nuk Geb, Twau Inter. Anetrok Shoo, 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 Shoo. Nuke Shoo. Anetrok Tefnut, 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 Nuke Tefnut, Twawinter. Anetrok Paut in Teru, Nuke Paut in Teru, Anetrok in Boo in Teru, Nuke in Boo in Teru, Twawinter. Twawinter. Dwa, dwa, dwa. Dwa for doing the opening of the way. Dwa for doing this ceremony that was given to us by Baba Heru. I want to let you know that there's a 2-day celebration that has been, you've probably already seen this on social media, that has been put together for our Baba Heru. A 2-day celebration that I'm hoping you will be part of. It is going to be here in New York, and I'm hoping that many of you will join us. This is the celebration that focuses on the legacy of Baba Heru as he is now a vaunted ancestor. And I'm truly hoping, let's see if I can pull it up. I'm truly hoping that you will be there, that you're going to be joining us. Baba actually is going to be memorialized, celebrated on December 6th and December 7th. You should know that this date, it's all going to be in New York. It's a Saturday and a Sunday. I would love to see all of you, any of you who are able to make it. It should be quite amazing. I'm looking forward to this celebration for Baba Heru, and the plan is to have one part of it in Brooklyn and the other part in actually in Harlem. I'm trying to put it on the screen, and Instagram is not actually helping me here. Let's see. Here we go. And so this is the date for the celebration of our shrine elder. Please be there. We're going to let you know where it's going to be. Look for the Shrine of Ma'at Facebook page, and certainly you're going to hear more about it. And it's going to be an amazing experience. I'm hoping that you are able to come. Of course, we're also going to be sure that we stream it so that you're able to see it, so that any of you who are not in there is going to be amazing. I'm seeing that Abutsa Shada saying, no, Senet Shenka, Ankan Ma'ad, it's all going to be on one day now. Let's see. That's my understanding, is that I don't know what's going on. If there is a location, please share it with us. I want to know what is going on. I've not been told that it's going to be on one day. But definitely, if you have more information, please share it with us so that we're able to celebrate our elder in the way that it is. T. Colbin, Ankin Ma'at to you. Sanet Shen Ka snuck in here. Ankin Ma'at to you. And Dwa for all that you do. I know that I saw the announcement when I was running with my mother earlier that she was doing prayer for the shrine early on Sunday mornings. Ankin Ma'at and Dwa for you doing that. Ankin Ma'at to Sanet Sakina Ra, who is here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Really? What you doing in Milwaukee? Aren't you usually in North Dakota? I hope all is well. Anka, you said, yeah, I think you're still doing well, but still, I hope all is well. Anka Ma'at to Adrian, Anka Ma'at to Stuart Jaman Hastings, who's coming to us from East London. Anka Ma'at to Kazi Shep, who is one of our full members. Anka Ma'at to Sinet Cortia, who is one of our full members. Ankan Ma'at to Robert Bernog, Ankan Ma'at to Anjai Bryant, Ankan Ma'at to you all. And I hope that you are all doing well. Oh, they're doing it at the Caribbean Cultural Center. Okay, good. On the 6th. Okay, let's see if I'm hoping I can even be there. Definitely, I'm hoping that things will really turn out to be the kind of celebration that is indicative of the legacy of Baba Heru. And I know that there are so many people who are working on it. I'm looking to see where, well, we know where, what time, and all the other details we'll share with you as soon as we possibly can. Okay, let us continue. You know that at this part of our gathering, what we usually do is we usually do what we would call Hesi. We actually go into a celebration of the divine forces that undergird this universe, that have created this universe. We do this celebration in song, in chanting. You are probably familiar, if you've been part of Kemetic Ascension, with Hesi for some time. And so I'm truly hoping that you are using Hesi in your regular day. It's one of those tools that should be in your toolbox as you are trying to remember exactly how we are able to remember, connect with divine forces. I believe that Hesi is one of those things that you should use. There's prayer, there's ritual, there's Hesi, all of these, there's altar work, all of these things. There's fasting and dietary things. There's so many things that you should do. Allow Hesi to be part of that. And as I do this, what I'd like to do is play a bit of Queen Afua and Baba Heru doing the Kumra Hesi. I've played this before, but I figured instead of doing the Kumra Hesi all myself, listen to Queen Afua and Baba Heru on a really old recording that they made called The Indwelling Healer, Do the Kumra Hesi. And what we'll do after that is I'll come back and talk to you about what that Hesi is so that you can truly get an understanding of it. You're going to hear her even give us the loose translation of the meaning of this Hesi, and I think that you will certainly enjoy it. Take a listen. This was on an old cassette tape. Can you hear that? I'm just playing audio. Can you hear that? Please let me know if you're able to hear that, because this is just a recording.
The mystery of the hidden sun is revealed to my face. The mystery of the hidden sun is revealed to my face. Kumra, kumra, kumherura, kumheru, herura, kumra, O eternal creator, with your numerous beautiful attributes, such as Nit, the healer, Serket, vital power, Atum, unlimited potential, Haru, divine love, and Haru, the falcon, the victor, Twa in turn, for granting one and all, Anku Jasanev, life, strength, and health. You are the mountains, the air, the ocean, the sun Ra. You are all things good and glorious. You are the light and the comforter, the healer. The greatness that dwells within you dwells within me. For you have made me into the likeness and image of you. Therefore, I too am the healer. With your continued light and guidance, may I be awakened to the divinity of the indwelling healer. Hotep, I am Queen Afua, an ancient African Nile Valley priestess and healer from the sacred house of Nebuchadnezzar. I have the privilege to be accompanied by 3 wise men. First, my spiritual teacher, guide, and mate, Sanor Haru Angwan Samad Sepatah, from the Shrine of Ptah. Second, Grand Master Cam, from Oasis at Sunrise, from the Shrine of Kepara, on percussion. Visited by third, Baraji, on zither. Together we welcome you into the indwelling healer. My reason for being is to help the spiritual seeker to restore and purify the body temple to a natural state of wholeness in body, Ka, mind, the soul, Ka. With the use
Dwa to Baba Heru and to Queen Afua for putting that together. I Nelsonet Cortia said, no video? Yeah, there's no video to that. Believe it or not, that was on a cassette tape. A cassette tape. Remember those cassette tapes we used to play? I had a bunch of them. I know many of you, if you have as much gray in your beard as mine, gray in your hair as mine, you had cassette tapes as well. You'd play something out, and then sometimes they get caught in the machine. You have to take it out carefully and get a pencil and try to wind it back in, or sometimes it would pop and then it's over. Well, this was on an old cassette tape that was given out, and keep in mind that it was recorded in the early 1980s, so it's quite old, and definitely it was called the Indwelling Healer, and definitely it was very popular at the time. And you should know that this incredible recording allowed us to you're not old, and I'm not old. Yes, I remember tapes. Good. I'm glad to hear that you don't think I'm old. But definitely that's where it came from. And so you'll hear the Hesse that they were using. It's generally, it was called the Qumran Hesse, and it was one of the most popular Hesses in the Shrine of Ptah. And you heard her say that it meant Qumran, it meant the mystery of the hidden sun is revealed to my face. The mystery of the hidden sun is revealed to my face. And so that's a loose translation, but the Hesse went Qumra, Qumra, Qumherura, Qumheru, Heru, Ra, Ra, Qumra, Ra, 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 Qumherura, Qumheru, Heru, Ra, Ra, Qumra, Qumra, Qumherura, Qumheru, Heru, Ra, Ra, Qumra, Ra, 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 Qumherura, Qumheru, Heru, Ra, Ra. So I'm hoping that you'll get accustomed to it. I'm going to tell you that when I became part of the Shrine of Ma'at, the Shrine of Ptah in the late 90s. Actually, many people would sing it, and Babo would sometimes, as we were doing work together, he would say, "Let us Hesi together," and he would do the Qumran. And I just kind of moved my mouth. No one ever taught it to me, so I'm hoping that you will learn it. Once again, it is Kumra, Kumra, Kumherura, Kumheru, Heru, Ra, Ra, Kumra, Ra, 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 Kumherura, Kumheru, Heru, Ra, Ra, Kumra, Kumra, Kumherura, Kumheru, Heru, Ra, Ra, Kumra, Ra, 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 Kumherura, Kumheru, Heru, Ra, Ra, Kumra, Kumra, Kumherura, Kumheru, Heru, Ra, Ra, Kumra, Ra, 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 Kumherura, Kumheru, Heru, Ra, Ra. Very often when we would sing that, we'd sing it in a round. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? That means that we would sing that Hesi, and then someone would begin sort of in the middle at the beginning. So we'd go Kumra, Kumra, Kumherura. Right there, someone would start with Kumra, Kumra, Kumherura. And you would do that in the entire Hesi, and boy, we would be singing. After a while, someone would grab the drum. Someone else would be twirling and dancing. I remember there was a brother that used to do these deep squats into his Aryanka, which is one of the ways that our Kemetic ancestors described their movement arts. I mean, it was amazing. And we should do as our root shrine did, the Shrine of Ptah. So I would like for you to get accustomed to this Hesi. I see, Adrian, you're saying, can I post this in the shrine for us? Are you saying post the words, the things that I'm speaking? I can do that. And what I'll do is I'll create an image and then send it to you. That's probably the best way to do it. And so you'll be able to really enjoy. Yeah, I'll do that. And for those who don't wait for me to post it, this is being recorded on YouTube and Facebook. Go back and listen to it so that you can truly get it. Because just having it in writing isn't as good as hearing it. Just hearing it isn't as good as having it in writing. So having it both is certainly helpful. Remember, it is generally called the Qumra Hesi. I see a number of questions. I know that some people have popped in that I have not greeted. If I haven't seen you, if I did not notice you, please chalk it up to my eyes and not to my ob. But I did see the priest Jamar come in. Ankin Ma'at to you. Ankin Ma'at to Cleve Ford, one of our full members. Naima Ra, Ankin Ma'at to you. Miss Chanel, Ankin Ma'at to you. I'm sure that there, Zep Tepi Slim, I'm sure there's some of you I'm missing. DD, Dirty Heat Beats. If I have missed you, please know that we are still feeling your presence here, and we are honored that you've chosen to join us. Let's move on and talk about the topic that we have for today. I want to just say to you that today I would like to talk about gratitude. I'd like to talk to you about that day that we know of as Thanksgiving, because before I see you again for Kemetic Ascension, we will have that day that is generally called Thanksgiving Day in the United States. And we're entering into the end of the year celebration period. It is a period where in many ways, the culture of the United States supposedly is reinforced by the celebration of these days. I'm going to say to you that as a practitioner of ancient Kemetic tradition, as a historian, as an African, this time of the year can be a little tough. We know that our families will gather for these days, and it is amazing that they gather for these days. It is wonderful that you'll have a time to be with your family. But on the same token, we should not be confused that these are our ceremonies, that these are our rituals, that these are traditions, celebrations that were built to be edifying for us. I know that can be difficult because Thanksgiving is one of those days that so many people travel to be with family, and we know that particularly in the world, the Western world, in the United States, family in the African community is of critical importance. And I know that might sound like you might say, well, Hennetter and Tepi, who is family not important to? But I just want to argue that family is revolutionary in the African descended community. We are those peoples whose families were strategically torn asunder. We are those peoples who were not able to benefit from the ceremony of marriage for hundreds of years. We are those people who, in many instances, whose reproductive rights were discarded. We are those people whose children were torn away from us. And throughout all of this, we will continue to see that people of African descent found ways to create new family, to create new community, and even to search and to reclaim families that were discarded, that were destroyed, that were torn apart by the cruel, inhumane system of enslavement that was created by white supremacists in the West. Let's be very clear that we are the people in this nation, we are the people in the West for whom family is more important. Let's be clear about this. When you think of family reunions, I bet that most people who think of family reunions will think of African American and Afro-Caribbean families. Because we are those people who don't allow the challenges, the struggles, the weights that have been put on our families to prevent us from gathering and from being together. The African family in the West is a revolutionary project. And so I recognize that if you are going to celebrate family, gather with family, eat with family, love up on family at this time of the year, I say that it is amazing and it is edifying for you to do so. However, at the same time, we must remember the origin of these traditions so that we don't think that those traditions were made for us, by us, to celebrate our families. We must gather in spite of that history. We must gather in opposition to the white supremacist project that is the United States of America. We must gather in opposition of Thanksgiving, the most hypocritical of all celebrations in the modern world. And so I am not going to critique you if you gather with family. I understand it. I get it. I will, whenever my family gathers, regardless of what they're gathering for, I will be there. And that is a commitment I made as a young man. I wasn't always someone that my family wanted to be around on these days. When I was a bit more of a strident revolutionary, I definitely was difficult to experience around these days. Some of you have heard me tell this story. One year, my family gathered for Thanksgiving. My cousins were there, my aunts were there, distant family was there, family friends were there. And as soon as they entered the house to sit down at the dining table that my parents had struggled and scrimped and saved to be able to have, I snuck upstairs, grabbed a diorama that I had created. It had to be maybe 2 feet, maybe a little bit more long, of an enslavement ship, complete with small Africans on the deck. And as soon as my father lifted that 25-pound turkey onto the table, I dropped the diorama on the table. They looked at me and saw that my face was covered in blood. And I said, I am covered in blood because this celebration is a celebration of white supremacy, a celebration of the destruction of our families in this country, the annihilation of the Native American, the enslavement of the African. And I remember my father, recognizing that this was not the time to argue with me, just said, go upstairs, we'll bring you food, go upstairs, go upstairs. Because obviously they knew I was right, but they were trying to celebrate family. Was there anything wrong with them celebrating family? No. But we have to also remember how these celebrations came together. Beating up the people that love me, that celebrate me, it was probably not the best way to do it. In hindsight, I probably would have tried to find another way to engender discussion. So I do want us, however, to talk about the history of this day so that we're clear about what is happening. Take a look at this. Ankit Ma'at to Scribe Sanjeti, who has come in, who has put on the GoFundMe for Baba Heru's celebration in the chat. Please make sure that you are contributing. I have a contribution coming tomorrow to the celebration. And this is so that we are able to put together this celebration. Please, we don't do it for money, but it takes money to do it. Please support the GoFundMe. That is how we're down at the 9th hour. It is time to support these sorts of activities. I'm hoping that you will support as well. Let's continue. I want you to look at this family here. You're probably seeing 3 generations of people of African descent in the United States gathered at this table. You're seeing who I think are meant to be grandparents and parents and children, and they're smiling at each other, about to have a meal. They have the iced tea going, the turkey going, mashed potatoes. I mean, they even got a cornucopia on the table. You see that cornucopia? How many Black people got a cornucopia on their table? Let me just say to you, clearly what is happening is this is supposed to be a celebration where family gathers and is present with each other. And how can you disagree with this? With all the things that have happened to us on these shores, how can you disagree with families gathering? We should also, however, remember how this celebration, this holiday, came into existence. And I want to say to you, for the most part, Thanksgiving is supposed to be a commemoration of an actual historical event that occurred in 1962, where these European settlers came and had a feast, a multi-day feast, by the way, with the Native American people who had supported them and allowed them to survive. They were unfamiliar with the terrain. They had come so late that they were not able to plant and grow. So they were starving, and the Native Americans who were here saved them. Let's be very clear about what happened. This painting here is by Jean-Léon Jerome Ferris. It is from 1899, and it's supposed to commemorate that actual day. It is called the first Thanksgiving 1621. What a wonderful image of family and celebration and fellowship. It is nothing more than propaganda. This painting is nothing more than propaganda. Did a celebration occur? Yes, it did. But looking at this painting, it would give you the impression that people of different backgrounds got together and they saw each other in their fundamental humanity and shared food with them, with each other. In actuality, what was about to happen is these same Europeans and those who were supporting them would literally annihilate those Native Americans who had saved them from starvation. That is exactly what happened. So, what is that first celebration that occurred in 1621? You should understand that the celebration occurred at Plymouth Plantation in Massachusetts, and a Native American by the name of Tisquantum, who was often known as Squanto. I know that when I was in school, they called him Squanto. That is not an incorrect name, but it seems that Tisquantum is a more appropriate name for him. Actually was a major force in having this gathering occur. He was a Patuxent native, which is part of the Wampanoag Confederacy. So he was from a particular group of people, and that group of people was part of a larger Native American group called the Wampanoag Confederacy. He was the one that taught these pilgrims how to catch eel and grow fish. Let's be very clear about something. There are many who doubt whether turkey was shared at this day. The meat that they were definitely eating was eel. They doubt whether turkey was there at all on the table at that at that celebration. It would, but definitely we know that eel and corn were there. So who is Tisquantum, this native person? Well, 6 years earlier, another European by the name of Thomas Hunt enslaved Tisquantum and think about this, 24 Patuxent people. And during that time, Tisquantum had struggled in this barbaric enslaving at the hands of Thomas Hunt, and he learned English, but was also the only Native American, the only one of these 24 that survived the enslavement at the hands of Thomas Hunt. The only one. In fact, if you want to hear more about this, there's an excellent book by David J. Silverman called This Land is Their Land. This land is their land, which describes this very, very well. Anyway, let's continue. So after Thomas Hunt took Tisquantum, he was then, after surviving his enslavement at the hand of the English, he was then also enslaved by French sailors, and those French sailors brought disease to his homeland. All of the Patuxent people were killed by illnesses, all of them. And then the pilgrims who came settled on the Patuxent land. And when they got there, they recognized that all of their homes, all of their belongings were there. And they said, oh, the Creator gave this to us. This is providence because we've gotten here so late in the year. We're not able to erect structures, but these structures were here, and the entire village, the entire area is empty, is unpopulated. And so this must be God's hand assisting us. In actuality, what it was is that these native people were killed by European diseases. And so when Tisquantum made his way back to his homeland after this arduous enslavement under the hands of the English and then the French, when he got back there, he saw no one of his family. None of them were there. All he found was the pilgrims. And so as he got there, the Pilgrims recognized that he spoke English and that he knew the terrain, he knew what to do, he had relationships with the other Native American groups. And so they attempted to work with him closely. Well, Tisquantum goes to speak on behalf of the Pilgrims to the leader of the Wampanoag Confederacy, a man named Massasoit. Massasoit. And you should know Massasoit did not trust Tisquantum. He said, oh boy, he's too close to those Europeans, these foreign people. But at the same token, Tisquantum begged on behalf of the Pilgrims, who were literally starving because their supplies had run out, and he gave them food. As Tisquantum, the man also known as Squanto, was their translator. And during this time, this is how these Europeans, these Pilgrims, survived and had a celebration with 50 Pilgrims and 90 Native people. Now, I want you to look at those numbers. There were 50 Pilgrims and 90 Native people, which meant that there were more than almost twice the number of Native people there than the Europeans. They could have easily come in and said, you know what? We gave you some food and this is a trap. We're actually going to massacre you all because we don't want you on our land. That's not what they did, because they had fundamental humanity. Something that we will find that these European groups, these very Pilgrims, did not have. After this celebration in 1621, we are going to find that millions of Native American people are massacred over the next few generations. We know the Europeans poisoned their water. Can you imagine poisoning their water? Today we would call that a biological contaminant. It's indiscriminate. It kills everyone. This is not like soldiers fighting soldiers, which when you're on someone else's land, you should always already see that as reprehensible. But no, these Europeans massacred everyone by poisoning their water. They also brought smallpox, a disease that was extremely virulent to everyone except the African, who had already had an inoculation against it. But you should know that these Europeans intentionally infected these Europeans with smallpox. In fact, if you want to know whether this was intentional or not, because some might doubt that they would do something that inhumane, look at the letter from a soldier by the name of William Trent, and his letter is called The Siege of Fort Pitt, 1763. In it, he writes, out of our regard to them meaning the Native American people, we gave them 2 blankets and a handkerchief out of the smallpox hospital. I hope it will have the desired effect. Just think about what that means. They already had understood that that Africans in Massachusetts had been inoculated, and an African by the name, well, let me see if you know the name, an African would actually save them. Literally tens of thousands of people would die every year in Massachusetts and all throughout the East Coast by smallpox. And an African came and gave them a remedy that saved tens of thousands of people. Yes, Inpu Mdwa, yes, 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 Ankin Ma'at to you, full member. His name is Onesimus. Onesimus brought the knowledge of how to save these people against smallpox from that. That happened like 50 years earlier. So understand, they already understood what smallpox was and how virulent it was, and they were already inoculating themselves against it based on the procedure, the scientific procedure of an enslaved African. But they had used this knowledge as a biological bomb against the Native Americans. Even today, we know that Native Americans have the highest unemployment rate in the nation, higher than the Black employment rate at 50%. Native Americans have the highest suicide rate of any group. And you should know that with all of this, in 1789, George Washington, the first president of the United States, first official president of the United States, created a national day of Thanksgiving commemorating this celebration between the Pilgrims and the Native Americans. And Lincoln, yes, that Lincoln, Abraham Lincoln, creates a federal holiday on the fourth Thursday in 1863 for the observance of Thanksgiving. So when we actually celebrate Thanksgiving every November, you should know, in fact, that line should say fourth Thursday in November. Lincoln is the one that set the official date and made it a federal holiday to celebrate Thanksgiving. Abraham Lincoln. Just think about that. Some of the images you're seeing on the right are of these Europeans who are massacring Native people, both in the United States, and on the bottom, you're seeing the massacre of Native people on the island of Hispaniola. This is what occurred. We know that Native Americans did the most dastardly and barbaric things. In fact, on the lower, in the lower image, you're seeing images that were created by Father Bartolomé de las Casas for his encomium against the Spanish's attacking and destruction of Native American people. And you're seeing a woman hung, a pregnant woman hung on the left. And there you're also seeing that they took the woman's baby out of her stomach and hung him too. That's what you're seeing. And you're also seeing that these soldiers are feeding the babies to their dogs while they chase and massacre Native American men. This is what they did to the people who saved them in the United States. This is what they did. And so with this horrific history, I want to ask you, should the history of Thanksgiving be forgotten? Should we just be caught up in these wonderful parades of balloons at the Macy's Day parades that happens right here in New York City? I have family members and friends that go to the parade. They say it's a wonderful thing to do with children. It's a lot of fun. But are we inculcating them into the propaganda of this celebration? I would argue yes. I would argue yes. Should Black families not gather on Thanksgiving? That's a tough one. I truly believe that if your family gathers, you should be there. Because our families are revolutionary. The integrity of our families were not secure. We know that the United States and Western sources truly fought to destroy our families, to control our families, to control our reproductive lives so they could better commodify us. If you're going to gather with your family on any day of the year, I say you do so. But do you have to forget what happened when you do it? Or should you not just be praying for what you're thankful for, but also praying for the ancestors, those of your personal ancestors who were enslaved and brought here? And praying for the ancestors of the natives who were destroyed as well. I'm hoping that you will include that, so that as you are gathering with your family, you all are also telling the truth. Your ancestors will be pleased. This plaque is actually in Massachusetts near the town of Plymouth. And it says here that since 1970, this day has been considered a national day of mourning. It reads, since 1970, Native Americans have gathered at noon on Coles Hill in Plymouth to commemorate a national day of mourning on the United States Thanksgiving holiday. Many Native Americans do not celebrate the arrival of the Pilgrims or other European settlers. To them, Thanksgiving Day is a reminder of the genocide of millions of their people, the theft of their land, and the relentless assault on their culture. Participants in National Day of Mourning honor Native ancestors and the struggles of Native peoples to survive today. It is a day of remembrance and spiritual connection, as well as a protest of the racism and oppression which Native Americans continue to experience. Erected by the town of Plymouth on behalf of the United American Indians of New England. So I want you to recognize that certainly we should know that this was a challenge for Native people. And of course, after stealing the land and annihilating Native Americans at the same time, these Europeans would then steal, kidnap Africans, rape Africans, force us to actually work for free for 246 years in the United States. But should we think that giving thanks is a European thing? I hope not. I hope you recognize that for thousands of years before Europeans even had a word for thanks, Africans were having days of Thanksgiving. Take a look at this. This is a scene from the tune of Sennacherib and Nefertiti. And it is a celebration of a harvest that was meant to occur in the afterlife, where one would be able to enjoy the abundance of the Neteru. The idea of enjoying the fruits of your hard work and your labor was something that was part of celebrations on the African continent for thousands of years. And I want you to be really clear about the fact that there were Thanksgiving or harvest festivals that were part of every ancient African and modern African society. As I spend time in Ghana, I have gone to harvest celebrations. A celebration of the hard work of the community in feeding its people, a celebration of how our people actually must give thanks to the Neteru and to the ancestors for allowing the land to provide for us. This is something that Africans have done for thousands of years. And we recognize that when we were unable to actually have those sorts of irrigation, the sorts of rains, the sorts of waters from even the river Hapi, the Itiru Hapi, that we would struggle. Look at this image around the pyramid, the Merkut of Unas, that shows people in famine. Look at how their ribs are showing, how skinny they are. This is supposed to be a reminder that the Neteru provides, and we must give thanks. This is thousands of years before we can find a Thanksgiving ceremony, a harvest ceremony in the European world. And we even know that this rock on the left actually is sometimes called the famine stele. And it actually is carved on a rock in the area that we call Elephantine today. It is where the Nubians of Kemet still live. And it was supposedly a description of how the king, the king of Imhotep, actually was able to, Djoser Neteriket was actually able to bring a period of famine to cease. He dispatches Imhotep to the south to look at what the disruption in the Great River is. And he realizes that he has to make offering to the Neteru in order for the river to provide in the way that it often had. And so this, in many ways, is a day of thanks. We provided offering to the Neteru, offering to the divine sources, and once again, they were able to give to our people. We see the concept of Thanksgiving. We see the idea of harvest ceremonies on the continent of Africa thousands of years before Europeans even created and bastardized their celebrations, which should be more considered celebrations of annihilation, celebrations of genocide. So as you gather, if you gather for this day, Let's try to do it how we do it. Let's try to remember those ancestors who struggled to allow us to survive. Hopefully you'll get up in your altars and give thanks to the ancestors, that you'll praise the Neteru for what we received, and that you'll help the children in your community understand how revolutionary it is for a Black family to gather in 2025. And you won't do all the stuff that everybody else does. Let them keep their bastardized white supremacist holiday. But if this is the day that your family gathers, do it how we do it. Don't imitate the imitator who is imitating you. Don't find white supremacist talking points in your mouth. Don't give your family the sense that, hey, this is what all American families do, and we do it too. Don't give them those erroneous ideas. But the same token, give thanks. At the same time, celebrate family. At the same time, celebrate ancestors. At the same time, celebrate the divine forces that the Kemetic people would have called the Neteru. Do it how we do it. And once again, I'm gonna say to you, don't beat up your family. Why go and beat up the people who love you and who support you? That's what I used to do. Don't do that. It's not helpful. I think that we should recognize the actual beauty of radical gratitude. That we should always be in the state of giving thanks for what we've been given. Giving thanks for what the Neteru and the ancestors provide in the state of challenge, of difficulty, of austerity. And we should always be in the state of radical gratitude. We shouldn't wait for the day that the European decides what you should do. But there are barriers to gratitude. Here are 9 barriers that we must overcome to radical gratitude. First of all, sometimes we feel entitled, or sometimes we feel unentitled. Both of these are things that prevent us from saying dua, prevent us from saying that we should celebrate and say dua for all that has been given. By the way, I was not looking at the chat. Can I say to you, let's say Ankin Ma'at to Brother Sekou, who is here under Kayla Sarah. Can I say that Brother Sekou is one of the most well-read and balanced brothers that I know. I've met him through Sonnetter. I'm honored that you're here, Brother Sekou. I'm not sure if I see that Willie Towles says, the gathering can be on any day of the week or weekend. Just need to stop regurgitating these depth rituals. Woo! Just apply the science to make it happen in perspective, logically speaking. I see lovely goddess, peace and blessings to you. New Chem 99 who's saying hit the like button, dua, dua, dua. I see Anthony Jones who's reminding us, so many others. If I've missed you, please make sure and understand it is my aging eyes and not my ob. And dua to Sinet Cortia, who says, please make sure you can make a donation to $sign Ma'at Shrine. That is our Cash App. But like I said before, it takes money to do this, even though we don't do it for money. Let's reverse that. We don't do it for money, but we need money to do it. So dua for the reminder, Sinet Cortia, to make donations. It is of critical importance. All of what you're seeing takes funding. And we're not coming to hit you up or to rifle through your pockets like we see some really unscrupulous spiritual leaders doing. But hopefully you'll remember that your donations are much appreciated and are used for here. Understand that I do not take any salary from the shrine, right? I do not. The dollars that you send go directly in making the shrine work. So they ain't going into my pocket. You're not going to see me driving a large vehicle. If you do, it's because of my own work. Definitely understand that it's not going to be your dollars that are going into my pocket. to enrich me. It is only going to be about supporting the shrine. So I really hope that you do so. Let's continue with this list. Number 2, we don't realize what we've actually received. Sometimes when we are struggling to survive and we're working hard, we can easily forget those things that we've actually received because we're still struggling to survive. But if you are going to receive, you must give thanks. Remember the position of adoration. You must give in order to receive. That's what those hands mean. That's why the left hand is further forward than the right hand, and the right hand is further is lower, because we must give in order to receive. That is the fundamental concept of Kemetic spirituality. But you have to remember what you've received. Let's continue. We don't properly celebrate our friends, family, and allies, those people who support us. We don't always properly celebrate them and say dua, dua, dua. Number 4, we don't recognize the challenges along the way actually prepare us to be victorious. You must have challenges. You are being challenged because you are being prepared for something larger than you could envision. Steel sharpens steel. Iron sharpens iron. For you to become who you must be challenged. And so even when you're struggling, even when you are actually trying to keep your head above water, make sure that you are saying dua, thank you. Number 5 is one that I've just said. We don't understand that we must give in order to receive. We've talked about this. Who are you giving to? How are you giving? You can't just take. You must give in order to receive. Number 6, we haven't focused on how fortunate we really are. Number 7, we become pessimistic. I hear people sometimes say nothing happens. Everything is all the same. We're still enslaved. Stop it. Think about how far we've come. When you try to make it sound like things are just as bad as they've always been, in some ways you're disrespecting the liberation and the commitment of your African ancestors. Celebrate it all. That doesn't mean that we still don't have struggles, that we're still not in the middle of a war, but celebrate the victories and say dua. Number 8, we don't recognize, there's a typo, we don't recognize our power. We don't recognize that the state in which we look at the world actually impacts the way that the world occurs. We must say dua. If we say dua, then we should recognize that good things will happen. We must say dua. We must say thank you. Number 9, we aren't stopping to focus on the journey. Sometimes you can be so overwhelmed by what you got to do that you don't recognize the journey that you're on. And this is not a good thing. Stop and recognize the journey. Let's continue. And then let me say to you that this gives you an idea of how we must say dua, how we must give thanks in Neteru. This is often called the 5 gifts of Het Heru. You know that Het Heru is the wife of Heru. You know, Het Heru is often in allegory the cow, the feminine cow that gives us sustenance. In fact, if you go to the temple of Hatshepsut, you're going to see an individual drinking straight from the udder of the heavenly cow. Why I think that the idea of the Milky Way comes from the idea of the Lady of the Heavens. We see some images of the cow going across the heavens and droplets of milk sprinkling into the sky as the stars. I think this is where we got that idea that it is the milk, that we live in the Milky Way. It comes from Het Heru. Well, listen to the 5 gifts of Het Heru that is on the Stela of Ipui from the 18th dynasty around 1500 BCE. That means that it is about 3,500 years old. It says, giving praise to Het Heru who lives in Waset, Kiss the earth for reverence to her in all forms. It was on the day that I saw her beauty. My mind was spending the day in celebration thereof, that I beheld the lady of the two lands in a dream, and she placed joy in my heart. Then I was revitalized with her food. He who is wise will honor her at the seasonal festival. That which gives teaching to the people might be regarded to be pure food. Oh, that's deep. That which gives teaching to the people might be regarded to be pure food. If you ain't write that down as a quote, you slipping. Let's continue. Near the servant in the place of truth, Ipuwi the justified says, in order to solve the problem of rivalry, jealousy, and coveting her, the wonders of Het Heru, which she did in ancient times, should be related to the ones who do not know the ones who do know. A generation should tell the next generation how beautiful she truly is. What is he talking about? Ipuwi is talking about reminding all of us that we must give praises to the Neteru and thanks to the Neteru. And it is when you give praises and thanks, kiss the earth for reverence to her in all forms, that we will receive her food. This is powerful. This is powerful. We must remember to be in divine gratefulness. Ask yourself, what 5 things would you miss if this was the last day of your life? And as you write those things down, I want you to get up in your altar in preparation for the period where people will be thinking about thanks. And as you do this, please make sure that this is the way that you will continue to give thanks, continue to say dua to the ancestors and to the Neteru, and this will allow you to receive the divine food of Het Heru, the divine food and grace of our ancestors. Make sure that you are giving thanks. Make sure that you are doing that which allows your heart to sing, because it is a Neteru that will put joy in your heart for respecting and honoring that which you have received. Please be in divine gratefulness. Remember the history of Thanksgiving. Remember exactly what we have been through, and go ahead and say dua. I'm seeing a few comments before I leave. I'm seeing, I'm sure I've missed some. Sinette Tone, I see that you're about to leave. Ankan Ma'at to you, and give a huge hug and myrrh to your moot for her 79th birthday lunch. That is wonderful. Give her lots of love, please, from us and from the shrine for creating such a wonderful member of the shrine. I also see that Johnny Johnson says Baba Alatunji, the master drummer, did a harvest offerings when he opened up for the Grateful Dead in 1980s as a master drummer. For 60 years as a high priest in Yoruba Odumere Ooni of Life Harvest Festival. Yes, I'm aware of Baba Olatunji, and I'd met him several times when I was a younger man. And the idea of our traditions just oozed from his pores as he would just be walking down the street and you'd meet him. And so we must remember what these great ancestors now have done, as they were also the proponents of our traditions that allow us to now be proponents of those traditions. I see the Benkley Institute. You just gave $50 about the legacy of Baba Heru, and you also want to share an exclusive interview with Baba. I'd love to see it. Please reach out to me at my email, jed@shrineofmaat.org. I just put it in the chat, and I would love to connect and see that, and perhaps even share it with the community. Sinet Tone says, when is the festival supposed to be celebrated during the Kemetic calendar year? I'm going to tell you that there was a half-month festival where divine thanks was giving. That was sort of the half month. Every month there was a festival, but there were harvest festivals that came right after probably in the end of the year, towards the end of the year, of course, because the beginning of our year would be when the floods would come, and then after that we would see those festivals. Remember, there were 3 seasons in ancient Kemet: Shomu, Peret, and I'm having a senior moment as to the other one, but definitely in the 3rd season is when we would actually be having the harvest festivals. Let's see, what else can I share with you really quickly? Oh, dua to you, Sarabi Queen, and dua to you all. Let me just go ahead and let you go. It's almost 2 p.m. Can I say to you that the divine force in me greets the divine force in you. I am so honored that you spent your Sunday with us. Let me just say to you, Amasu and Pa Inter, Sauksu Mithra and Pa Inter, Autu Aura Maketi Pa Herura. Give yourself to the one most high. Keep yourself daily for the divine, and do it tomorrow just as you did it today. Twelve Winter. I truly hope that you are doing the work, that you're going to remember to give radical gratitude, and that you are going to remind our families of the things that led up to this Thanksgiving ceremony. And remember that we got to do it the way we do it, and ignore the way that the European, our oppressor, has done it. With that, let me just say to you that I hope you have an amazing day, and that you move forward and truly enjoy all those things that the ancestors and the Neteru have given us. Shem Ma'at, go forth in divine balance. We'll see you soon.